Hello, everyone. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And today we have for you two Thanos Galactus builds. Everyone has been asking me in the comments, people have been saying, hey, does Thanos Galactus still work after the Spider Man buff? Is the deck dead? No. No, it is not. There is a play around, there is a way around it. Both of the decks we're talking about today have hit infinite using Thanos and Galactus. And that's what we do here ultimately. We find you really successful decks before the meta gets to them. We scour Twitter, the various stat and database websites, and we find you proven decks that hit infinite, that have super high win rates, get infinity borders, get infinite tickets when infinity borders aren't available. Our goal here is to find you the best decks faster than the meta so that you can achieve your goals in Marvel Snap, whether that be hitting infinite, achieving top ranks in Conquest, whatever that may be. That is our goal here. So if you would like more of these decks, and there are two every single weekday, please hit subscribe, like, comment, help us out with that YouTube algorithm. We'd appreciate it, and it helps make sure you don't miss any of the videos. We bring you great content every single day. In addition to all these deck videos, the other thing we have here is we are releasing every other day a YouTube short. I know all the top players in the game with advice from the top players. This advice is a quick strategy thing to help make you better at Snap. Maybe it's a misapprehension that you have. We are going to talk you through a bunch of really good, really interesting, really smart Snap strategies, one every other day, 7 days a week, right here in a quick short. So don't miss out on that either. All right, enough of that. Please, hopefully you've subscribed. Let's get to the first deck. This is from our friend Fozzer. Fozzer is one of my favorite people in all of Marvel Snap. How you doing, Foz? Fozzer has a Thanos Galactus build that he used to hit infinite. Fozzer is over as Fozzer Snaps on like everything, where Fozzer plays on everything. If you type in Fozzer and Marvel Snap into Twitch, you will find him. Into Twitter, you will find him, and you should also join his Discord. He's got my favorite small, close-knit Discord community. I am a part of also the larger Discord of Marvel Snap Zone. You can find me in one of those two places more often than not. I hang out in several others, but those are my two main hangs. All right. This deck is relatively simple. It uses a destroy package to try and get Galactus to win. Galactus often ends up being a backup plan with this deck, as you'll be playing a bunch of stones and Carnage and Killmongering them away. At that point, you can very often win a lane by going Shuri into Hobgoblin. That -16 beats a lot of decks unless they're also running Carnage or something similar. It becomes not worth it for them to compete there. At that point, you have either a very cheap death or a very high power null that wins you the game. One of the other play lines with Shuri in this deck is you can go Shuri Nimrod and save your Carnage Venom. If you see that you are trying to build toward that with your early hand, i.e. you have Shuri and Nimrod, or you have Nimrod but no Hobgoblin and no Galactus, you can go Shuri into Nimrod and then play Carnage and Venom on your Shuri and Nimrod, and then spread 12 power Nimrods all over the board, and keep make a 15 power Venom, at least 15 to or if there's stones or Shuri in that lane, power Venom as well. It's an absolute ton of power and a great way to win games of Snap. If you've killed enough, last turn, you've got a Shang-Chi death play as one of your options. And you've always got Thanos as just a nice big body. Those are your main ways to win when you're not Galactusing. How can you Galactus? Well, you can Galactus several ways. The easiest way is Wave on 4, Galactus on 5. If you go Wave on 4, Galactus on 5, that's why Hobgoblin is in the deck. Hobgoblin then becomes the very best card to play. It can mess up their spacing. It lets you know what you need to do to win that game. At that point, you want to be very careful with your last play, because a Shang can still blow you up, right? But very often that Hobgoblin is going to take up enough space to give you that victory. If you Galactus, getting priority is really important. If you Galactus and then they're winning in the lane, that is the ideal situation. You auto-win those games just by dropping your Null or your Death and Shang-Chi, as the case may be, because if they have priority, they can't Shang you, and you can still Shang them. The Galactus is also very good for that play, right? So if you go wave Galactus, you can just pass on turn 5, and if they get above you in power, then your last turn of plays will take you over the top. Shang-Chi is then not a card that affects you. I suppose Negasonic could still beat you, but that's still not a big enough part of the meta to be a concern. Finally, the final play here is you can go, well, I guess there's two more. Okay, you can go Nimrod on turn 5, ideally still with the Shuri, and then if there's a lane that's like, say, a Death's Domain, you can play Galactus in there. Galactus will be winning before he blows up, and the Nimrods will move on over and give you the game. It's a really great way to steal a game of Snap, although it is sometimes hard to predict. The final thing you can do is you can Time Stone on turn 4. You can play whatever card you want with that. You've got Venom, you've got your Killmonger, so on. And then you can Galactus on turn 5. Again, that leads to a really great null play. And if you are ahead in priority, you can also just try and play some lower power effective cards. Like a Hobgoblin still is a very good play there. And everyone doesn't run Shang. There's a lot of discard in the meta, right? That fundamentally like auto beats a discard deck. That is the main play lines of Fazer's Thanos Galactus build, a deck that I played with him to an infinity ticket, in addition to him hitting infinity. Go check out Fazer's content. You won't be sad. I'll have it all in the description linked properly. We also have a deck from Comics Fan, an Australian creator. This one is just different enough for me to want to feature. It's got obviously some of the similar Destroy package in that it's running Killmonger, Shang-Chi, Death, Null, and of course Galactus and Thanos, but this one does some different things. It's got as an extra way to win that Galactus lane instead of Nimrod, Wolverine. It's got Legion so that you can make yourself a safe Galactus location. It's got Phoenix Force for if you go wave Galactus, one of the cards you can play, you've destroyed several of your cards at that point, is Phoenix Force. That will often give you a card that is under the power of Galactus. Sorry, the power of Shang-Chi, so that you're much harder to beat. You can then last turn drop your death or whatever else. Legion's also very good at that. Both end up usually at about 8 power, and if either one is about 8 power, 7 power, 8 power, that's 15 power in the lane, right? 14, 15 power in the lane. That's really tough to beat with a single card or with only a turn or so to play. So their Shang is very unlikely to go over the top of you at that point. You can still drop a death or whatever else, or a null as the case may be, or Thanos to try and win that lane. If there's a really good spot to Thanos and you want to try and keep it clear, Spider-Man is an excellent way to do so. He also helps you get into unreachable lanes like Jeff does for games when you don't want to play that Galactus. This deck is more reliant on Galactus than the previous deck, though. It's got only Killmonger to really get the death package going. Although, once it does, Phoenix Force and Legion give you other paths to victory. Remember, Legion can just auto-win some games. This deck does better in general with stats without any shenanigans. Like the other deck will not see stones and just fall apart. This deck can do a curve of something like Jeff into Spider-Man, into Phoenix Force, into Legion, and still honestly be reasonably competitive at that point. You're still not as good without stones, whereas the other deck just dies without them. This is a really cool deck from Comics Fan, who you should check out at this exact spelling over on Twitch. Comics Fan is a former Marvel Snap handbook writer, which is very, very cool. So that is these two Thanos Galactus decks for those of you who've been missing out on the archetype. There is no more lockdown with them, unfortunately. The Professor X and Spider-Man, I haven't seen evidence. Sorry, Professor X and Spider-Man's in this, but like the lockdown that Professor X used to do no longer seems nearly as relevant for the deck. So instead, we have these two, which are both proven successful. Please give them a try. Let us know how you think. Sub, comment, be in touch. Catch you tomorrow for another deck. Peace.